Hi, I'm Sarah with Missouri Star, and in this episode we're going to be making an adorable crochet garland that you can make in 3 different ways. So you're going to want to stick around so that you can have the cutest decorations this holiday season. For this project, there's 3 different versions of this project that you can make. So we're going to make these little crochet motifs that look kind of like vintage glass ornaments, little round ornaments. And they're perfect for adding a little pop of color with some embroidery. There is a smaller round, there's a larger round that you can see behind me, and then there's an elongated shape that reminds me of like those vintage 1940s big Christmas tree light bulbs, which I just think are adorable. So you can make all 3, and then I've strung them each on their own strand, but you could mix and match and have all 3 shapes and sizes on a strand. So why don't I show you what we need to make these, and then we'll get into the making of them. So I'm using Lori Holt Chunky Crochet Thread, which is a great yarn. I love this yarn, and I'm not a big fan of cotton yarns. Anybody who knows me knows that. But this is a really sturdy sport weight. That's a number 2 fine, almost like a baby weight yarn, 100% cotton. It's not mercerized, but it's spun in a way that it almost has the shine of a mercerized cotton, which means it's really sturdy and long lasting. It's going to be around for a really, really long time. And it comes in about 38 colors, I think, and we have all of them. So whatever your holiday decorating scheme is, we've got the colors that will match. I've pulled together this really sort of vintage 1950s kitchen colorway. The yarn is designed by Lori Holt, and these are very Lori Holt colors, but they also are really appealing to me. So it's a whole little vintagey color scheme vibe here for this. So you only need 1 skein of this yarn to make the 6 ornaments and string them together if you wanted to do something monochromatic. But this is a 6 color set that we put together for this. So it's a really cute and vintagey. You will also need a size G6 crochet hook, whatever crochet hook style. If you like boy hooks, I'm using the Addy Pro crochet hook. Susan Bates, if that's what appeals to you. We have a whole bunch of different styles of crochet hooks on the website that you can choose from. So it's a G hook that you need. That's a 6, not a 7. It's a G6. That's a 4.0 millimeter. Scissors and tapestry needles. And that's all you need for this project. So why don't I get started? I'm going to go with this. I love this gold color. It's just this really rich gold color. And we're going to start with, and this is the same for all 3 shapes in this pattern. We're going to start with a magic ring. And so I'm going to take about 8 inches of tail, and I'm going to wrap it front to back over 2 fingers, all the way up to the top. That's once. All the way up to the top, that's twice. And then I'm going to take that tail and tuck it between my 2 fingers and hold it. Then I'm going to take my crochet hook and reach under these 2 loops that went all the way around, and I'm going to grab my working yarn, pull it through and up, yarn over, and pull through once to lock it in place. Then I can take this loop off of my finger. So now I have 2 strands of a loop that are going to stay put while I do all of my stitches. And we're going to do all of our stitches into the center of that ring. Pretend that this is a donut. We're going to work into the donut hole for this project. So I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2. This counts as a double crochet. And then I'm going to do 11 more double crochets into that ring so that we have a total of 12. Yarn over into that donut ring, bring up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. So you're going to do 11 of those, which when added to the chain 2 that we started with comes up to 12, all into that donut hole, all into the center of that ring. let's see, I'm just going to move my yarn over here because it wants to come from there. Let's do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 more to go. That's 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yeah, we're working with circle shapes, and this doesn't look very much like a circle right now, does it? It looks like a weird rainbow. This is why it's called a magic ring. So this tail, let me just loosen up that loop and get my crochet hook out of the way for a bit so we're not having to fiddle with too many things. This tail is going to help us to turn this very strange rainbow shape into a circle. I'm going to hold on to those first couple of stitches. Now, I'm not pinching them. I'm not trying to hold them in their place in the universe. I'm just holding on to them so that when I pull on this tail, they don't slide out of my hands. And if you watch, as I pull this tail very slowly, one of these 2 strands is getting shorter and shorter. Can you see that? So that one that got shorter, the same side where this tail comes from, I'm now going to pull that shorter tail the same way that I was pulling the longer tail until the other strand disappears. So now I just have one loop and the tail. I go back and pull the tail and that loop disappears. And that's what turns that weird rainbow shape into almost a circle. Now we have to join our crochet to create the circle. So I'm going to slip stitch to the top of that chain 2. That was 12 stitches back. So the easiest way that I find always to find that is to count backwards. So I'm going to go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's my 12th stitch back. So that's where I do my slip stitch to join this into the perfect little circle. So that's our first round, and that's the first round for all 3 shapes. Continue on with this smaller ornament shape. We're going to chain 2, and then we're going to do a double crochet in the same place where we did the slip stitch that joined the previous round. So where this chain 2 comes from, we're going to go back into that same spot and do our first double crochet. See that? Now we need to move to the second double crochet, which is right here, and we're going to do 2 double crochets into that stitch. There's 1, there's 2, and that's our pattern all the way around. We're going to do 2 double crochets into the top of every stitch from the last round. So we had 12 double crochets in that first round. We want to have 24 at the end of this round. And it's important. If anybody ever told you you could crochet and not count everything you do, they lied to you. Crochet is so much counting. And that's okay. It is what it is. That's part of the craft. I really like the rhythm of double crochet. It's easy to fall into for me. It just, after all these years, my hands really like it. My hands really like any crochet stitch, honestly. I don't think there's one that I do that I don't like. But double crochet has a very special rhythm. Maybe because I used to make tons and tons of granny squares when I was little. Maybe that's why. All right, I think that's 24. So let's count. And I always like to count backwards from where I am. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So that's 24. So why does this look like Pac-Man? That's okay. It doesn't actually. You just haven't finished closing this round. So we counted back 24. At the top of that chain 2, we're going to do a slip stitch, and that's what joins everything together into a circle. See? Easy peasy. All right, one more round on this shape. We're going to start with a chain 2. Same thing as before. We're going to do a double crochet back where that slip stitch happened. So there's 2 stitches in that stitch, but then in the next double crochet, we're just going to do 1. So for this round, we want to end with 36 stitches. So we did 2, then we did 1. So in the next stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And then in the next stitch, just 1. And that's our pattern all the way around. 2 stitches in the same stitch, 1 in the next. 2 double crochets in this stitch, 1 double crochet in the next. So go ahead and work your way around in this round until you have 36 double crochets, and meet me back here to finish. Once you've got those 36 double crochets, you're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 2. And then we just have one last little thing to do. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet in that same space where that slip stitch happened, and then in the top of the next 2 double crochets. So there's 1, there's 2, chain 1, turn your work, and single crochet your way back. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. And that's it. That is your small ornament shape. Now you're going to want to make 2 for every one of the ornaments that you want to hang on your garland, because we're going to join them together and we're going to stuff them a little bit. But that is the small ornament shape. So go ahead and make at least 6 of them, or as many as your little heart desires. And then later in this episode, I will show you how to put them together. But next, we're going to make the large ornament. So for the large ornament, it has the same beginning as the small ornament. You work your way through those first 3 rounds, 12 double crochets, 24, 36, and then we add an additional round of single crochet stitches. So let me show you how to do that. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to do 2 single crochets in that same place where the slip stitch happened that joined the previous round. Then we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and 1 single crochet in the stitch after that. Are you starting to see a pattern with these rounds? In the next stitch, we're going to do 2 single crochets, and then 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and 1 single crochet in the next stitch. We'll do that one more time. 2 single crochets in the same stitch, then 1, then 1. And you're going to continue that all the way around until you have 48 single crochets. Every time we increase, we add an additional 12 stitches. So work your single crochets all the way around. Meet me back at the beginning to see how we join. Once you've got those 48 single crochets done, you're going to go back to that very first single crochet that you did, and you're going to slip stitch right in the top of it. And that joins the 4th round. Then you're going to chain 1, and you're going to single crochet across 4 stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 1, turn, and then single crochet your way back across those 4. 2, 3, and 4. Then you can cut your yarn, fasten off, move on to your other ornaments. Remember that you want to make 2 of these motifs for every ornament shape that you want to make, because we're going to sew them together and stuff them a little bit. So go ahead and make all of the large ornament shapes that you want. Join me back here for that light bulb shape. All right, for our cute little vintage light bulb shape, your ornament starts out the same. So same magic ring, same 12 double crochets in that ring, and then we close for the cute little circle. Then we have to start using different stitches to make different shapes. So this shape includes triple crochets or treble crochets. It means the same thing. Double crochets, half double crochets, and single crochets. So let me show you what that looks like. We're going to start with a chain 3. And we're going to do a treble crochet in that same stitch. So we yarn over twice, and then into that same stitch where the slip stitch happened, yarn over, pull through two, pull through two, pull through two. Now in this round, we're going to do 2 stitches in every stitch, but the stitches we're doing are going to change. So we just did a treble crochet. Now in the next stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochets. That'll feel familiar at this point. Sometimes that second stitch is a little hard to get into. Don't worry if you have to push your way through a little bit. All right, there's 2 doubles. Now for the next stitch, we're going to do half double crochets. And that starts with a yarn over just like a double crochet till we've got 3 on the hook, and then we pull through all 3. And we're going to do a second one of those in that same stitch, just like that. Now in the next stitch, we're going to do 2 single crochets, just like that. Then we're going to go back to the half doubles. We're going to do 2 half double crochets. In the next stitch, get that tail out of the way. In the next stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochets. It's making you think a lot, this one, this shape. And then in the next stitch, we're going to do 2 treble crochets. So yarn over twice, and then pull through 2 3 times. Do that again. That's 2 treble crochets. Then we go back to our double crochets. Next stitch is 2 double crochets. The next stitch is 2 half double crochets. The next stitch is 2 single crochets. Then we go back to the half double. We do 2 half double crochets. And then 2 double crochets. Then to join, oh, I dropped that one, so I'm just going to pull it all out and redo it. There's my second double crochet at the end there. Then we're going to go to the top of that chain 3 that we started with, and we do our slip stitch. See, now it's got a nice elongated shape. We're going to go around one more time. We're going to start with a chain 3, and then in the next stitch we're going to do 2 double crochets. There's 2 double crochets. Then in the next stitch we're going to do a half double crochet, and then we're going to do 7 single crochets. So 1 single crochet in each of the next 7 stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we do a half double crochet, and then the next stitch gets 2 double crochets. And then a triple crochet. 1, 2, 3. 2 double crochets. 1, 2, a half double crochet, 7 single crochets in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a half double crochet, and then 2 double crochets in that last stitch. Then we slip stitch to the top of that chain 3 to join this round together. And there's our nice long light bulb shape. Now, same thing as with the other ornaments. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to single crochet across 3 stitches, chain 1, turn, single crochet your way back across, ooh, that last one's a little tough. Then you can cut your yarn, pull your tail through, give it a tug, fasten it off. That shape is all done. And again, as with the two previous shapes, you're going to need to make 2 of this motif for every shape that you want to hang on your garland. Why? Because I said so. because you don't have to. You could do just a simple, you could just do this simple motif and you could hang it on your garland. But I like the weight that the double layer has with a little bit of stuffing in it. And I found that it was a little bit easier to, if you wanted to do some embroidery, like here you can see I just did little X's on this one, but they're not on the back because I embroidered when it was just the simple single motif before I joined them together. And when you do 2 of them, you can put a little bit of stuffing in there so that they're a little puffier. And I didn't put very much stuffing in here. You could put a lot in there and really turn these into globe-shaped ornaments. But that's the next step. So let me show you how to put those shapes together. Once you've got all of your motifs made, you're going to want to pair them up and stitch them together. And, excuse me, if you've left long enough tails, then you won't have to use any additional yarn to do this part. So I like to grab the tail that I finished with that's up at the top of the ornament, and I put these together wrong sides together. And I'm going to stitch them together. I'm just going to grab one strand from each side at the top. And then here where you've got the tops of your stitches, this is what I like to do. It's not a whip stitch. I just grab one strand from the top of each stitch and I go back and forth. One direction for one stitch, the other direction for the next stitch. And I just go back and forth until I get to a point where it feels like I don't have enough yarn to comfortably keep going on my little tapestry needle. Get those other tails out of the way. It's really just, it's just this easy. You just go back and forth and back and forth. And I go until, I really go until this feels really tight and I feel like I can't maneuver the tapestry needle anymore. I'm getting there. And this should get you, I mean, if you leave yourself an 8-inch tail when you fasten off each shape, then this should get you just past the middle. Yeah, see, I'm past the middle. So I'm gonna call that one done. I'm gonna go through the next stitch, then back through this same stitch and form sort of a slip knot in there. And then I'm just gonna tuck it inside, get all these other tails out. And I'm going to take this tail and I'm going to run it through the back of a few of these stitches just so that the tail itself won't pop out. It'll stay between those stitches. And then I'm going to trim it. I'm just going to leave it there. Now to make these a little bit puffy, I'm just going to grab some scrap yarn and I'm just gonna wrap it like, I don't know, 20 or 30 times around my fingers until it feels like a nice puffy bit. I'm gonna wrap that tail and I'm just gonna give the whole thing twists in the opposite direction. See how it sort of makes a donut out of it? And then I'm just gonna tuck that inside, just right in the middle. Then these two long tails are from the middle when we did the center of our ornament, the magic ring. I'm just gonna wrap those around and tuck them inside. And then I'm gonna go back to the only tail that remains, thread my tapestry needle, and same thing as before. I'm gonna stitch these two sides together, going back and forth grabbing one strand from the top of each stitch, back and forth until I've gotten to where they're already stitched together, which shouldn't be too long. I think I've got about 10 more stitches here. So I know it can seem a little daunting. Oh, I'm going to crochet all these pieces, then I'm going to have to sew them all together. It really does go very quickly, and it lets you stuff them. You could crochet these together if you wanted to. I sort of like combining the two. All right, so there I'm back where it's already sewn together. So I'm gonna just catch this stitch, make a little slip knot out of it, and then tuck that right into the middle of my ornament through that stuffing yarn until it pops out. I'll give it a little tug. See how it deforms that side of the ornament? That's okay. When I snip my yarn and I pull that back through, it means that the tail's not going to pop out. And now I have an adorable little stuffed ornament. And you can zhuzh it around, give it a little massage, make sure everything's sitting in there right. And that's it. That's your ornament. You will make however many of those you want to make. The pattern will tell you to make 6. You can embroider them if you want. You could do some iron-on applique if you want. You do whatever you want to these happy little guys. And then you get to string them all together. How do we string them together? Well, this is the easiest part. You start with whatever color you're going to string them together with. Start with a slip knot. And then you're going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then you're going to go back to that very first chain that you did, and you're going to do a slip stitch to join. And that gives you a hanging loop, because you're going to want to hang these little garlands up. All right, then I've got a tail there. I just like to work with the tail from here. So I'm going to chain 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is where the tail doesn't want to cooperate anymore. Don't bother with it. Just keep going with your working yarn. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now that you've got those 20 chains, pick up your ornament and you're going to single crochet through both layers of the top. And depending on which ornament it is, you do the same number of single crochets that you had at the top of your ornament. So if you had 3 single crochets, then you do 3 single crochets. If it's the larger ornament and you had 4, you do 4 single crochets. And you just make sure that you go through both layers. There's my 3, and that's it. Now it's hung on your strand. Then you're going to crochet, you're going to chain 20, do your next ornament, chain 20, do your next ornament. Just work your way across, making sure that you've got a chain of 20 in between. Why 20 in between? That gives them enough room to wiggle around. And if you wanted to double up a garland, you could do that so that they hang sort of in between each other. See? So when you get to the end, after you've added your last ornament, chain 30. So 20 is the space after, and then you need 10 for the final hanging loop. So there's 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, but we've got 10 more to go. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Now you can cut your yarn. Count back 10 chains. The loop on your hook does not count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And do a slip stitch to that 10th chain. And then fasten off. Give it a tug. And then because you chained with your tail when you started, you only have one tail to weave in here at the end. Thread your tapestry needle properly so you don't split your yarn. It happens, don't worry about it. There you go. And then I just like to run my needle up in and out of those chain stitches to the top of the loop. Pull it through, give it a tug, trim that one. If your little tail from the beginning is popping out, trim that one off. And you will have a much more impressive garland than my little ornament garland here. You will have something super cute that you can hang anywhere you're decorating for the holidays. So that's our crochet ornament garland. You have 3 shape options. String them individually, string them all together, mix them up, have fun with it. You can follow the link below or go to MissouriQuiltCo.com to pick up a kit or individual supplies. You can put together your own color palette for your ornament garland. I hope that you've had fun in this tutorial with me. Make sure that you click the bell, like and subscribe so that you always know when we have new tutorials and new episodes. In the meantime, happy crocheting! Thanks so much for stitching along with us on this Missouri Star yarn loving tutorial. If you haven't yet, you want to click that bell and subscribe and become part of the Missouri Star family and make sure that you never miss another tutorial. You never know, you might make your next favorite project.